home to the tallest summit in North America, Denali, which rises 20,310 feet above sea level, home to the more active glaciers and ice fields than in the rest of the inhabited world, home to a variety of animal species, including the largest concentration of American bald eagles, the largest species of brown bear in the United States, and 90% of the sea otters in the world. This is Alaska, where over 100,000 Native Americans and a vast range of the hardiest animals on the planet dwell. Seasons in Alaska are flourishing with life despite the harsh environment. Through time, Alaskans have proven to be persistent. They call it the last frontier. Despite competition from Britain, economic restraints, and nature's wrath, Alaskans have shaped the $7.2 million frozen wasteland into a fortified national defense point, wealthy international seafood port, and a harmonious community between natives and animals. To truly understand the developments in recent Alaskan history, it needs to be traced back to its origins. On March 30th, 1867, America purchased the frozen terrain for a mere $7.2 million, which was only 20 cents an acre. The first barrier which stood in their way was Britain. During the 19th century, Britain functioned as a single leviathan in the world. Their military was the strongest. Their society was the wealthiest. They were truly unstoppable. Constantly expanding, the British Empire set eyes on Alaska. Threatened by competition with the greatest superpower in the world, American politics broke through British influence due to their developing relations with Russia. Before Russo-American relations settled for neutrality, now they shared a common enemy, Britain. United by the purpose to overcome Britain, their negotiations resulted in not only the purchase of America's largest state, but also the important relation between two once aloof countries. By strategically allying with Russia, the purchase set grounds for America's prominence in the international community and sparked inspiration for future relations and purchases. The Alaska lands were plentiful with resources, but there were still many financial obstacles to overcome. The cost for Alaska in 1867 was $7.2 million, which is about $113 million in 2017. To the youth of America, it was a massive purchase. The new barrier they faced was a massive debt which threatened to topple their economy and the people's rejection of the purchase. Seward, who represented the Americans, negotiated the deal in an extended bargaining session with Russian Minister Edward de Stockel on March 30th, 1867. The Senate passed the treaty a few days later, but the House held up funding the purchase for more than a year, as a public debate raged over the purchase price and soundness of Seward's decision. Despite the steal of paying only about 20 cents an acre, the purchase was ridiculed in Congress and in the press. Obviously, the citizens weren't optimistic either. It was nicknamed as Seward's Folly, Seward's Icebox, or Polar Bear Garden. The financial blockade angered individuals as Alaska continued to suffer from internal politics until the Klondike Gold Rush began in the 1890s. Through 1897 to 1970, the idea of striking rich led over 100,000 people from all walks of life to abandon their homes and embark on an extended, life-threatening journey across treacherous, icy valleys and harrowing, rocky terrain. The adventurous stampede for gold-united people of all walks of life in a common goal. In fact, after discovering gold and other natural resources, they were able to pay off their debt in merely 2 years. With massive profits, it overcame the financial barrier. Eventually, the Alaskan Territory bolstered the American economy and helped many strike rich. However, as Alaskans reaped the reservoirs of natural resources, they were also unknowingly harming the wildlife and natives around them. Slowly, it grew to a barrier of disdain coexisting between the Americans, the natives, and the wildlife. Alaska natives maintained their own forms of traditional governments and sovereignty prior to the arrival of Westerners. However, when the United States purchased Alaska from Russia on October 18th, Alaska natives who lay claim to almost all the land of the future state are not recognized or consulted in the transaction. Under the infiltration of foreign nations, their encounters with Euro-Americans and subsequent encapsulation into the larger American society forced them to adopt new strategies and initiatives to protect their land and culture. On the other hand, cases of animal assaults increased under human influence. Tension continued to escalate between these communities until the Iditarod. The Iditarod is a 1,000-mile race where people train sled dogs to participate in. To tame the animals to compete with the mushers, Alaskans had to develop a relationship with the animals around them, which forced them to start protecting the environment. With the Iditarod as an annual competition, it reminds Alaskans to be aware of the beautiful, icy surroundings around them. Initially, the Iditarod was a simple form of transportation used by the government. But slowly, as the Huskies bonded with mushers, it grew into a tradition. The ice between animals and humans are clearly broken. By competing alongside a 1,115-mile trail together, the relations between mushers and their pets developed into a deeper level which defined Alaskan culture. The Iditarod helped mend relations between Alaskans, natives, and the animals around them. Although there were many socio-economic problems derived from dog sledding, the Iditarod has evolved into one of Alaska's most famous activities and primary forms of transportation. Fortified by frozen peaks and vast oceans, Alaska has more borders than the remaining American states. The geostrategic advantage subsequently displays how the barren, icy wasteland is more than a haven of natural resources, but a kingpin of America's national security. Anchorage, where most of the Alaskan population lies, is one of the largest ports in the world. We bring it from an economic standpoint, but we also bring it from a national defense standpoint, how it's important to be energy independent as far as much as we can. Mark Bugich, former Alaskan senator. Eventually, through American persistence and molding, Alaska develops into a fortified American foothold for Pacific influence as well. Moreover, as a 49th state of America, the seemingly insignificant frozen plains are not only fortified with its national terrain, but it's also teeming with natural resources. The Klondike Gold Rush provided immense wealth to the infancy of American economy, while Alaska persists improving its worth today with tons of seafood cargo and one of the largest functioning oil reserves. Another one of Alaska's beautiful treasures are their unique environments and the multitude of intertwined relations between diverse cultures. One of Alaska's specialties includes the Iditarod. Even after the advent of the airplane, dog teams continue to be widely used for local transportation and day-to-day work, particularly in native villages. Don Bowers, Musher, 1996 to 1999. A competitive and traditional spirit attracted mushers from all cultures, including natives. The Iditarod Trail soon became the major thoroughfare through Alaska. Today, Alaska has shown massive growth since 1867 and continues to develop at a modern pace. Through persistence, Alaskans have always strived for better, and there are many upcoming future implications. In 2020, the American government plans to release a $1 coin in memorial of Elizabeth Petrovich, a civil rights activist from the Tlingit Nation. As socialized by her Dundas, United States Mint Chief Administrative Officer, the coin is a lasting tribute to Elizabeth Petrovich and her relentless efforts to tear down the wall of discrimination against Alaskan natives. Petrovich is just one of the few notable individuals who have shaped Alaskan history, and the coin's release is marked to celebrate her 75th anniversary of releasing the Anti-Native American Discrimination Bill. This is purely the beginning of something greater, yet this journey has only just begun.